and I was like, what's going on? That's what comes from not using a mirror. How are you, everybody? Are you all okay? Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? Oh, doing a seance. Looks like I'm wearing the same thing as last week. That's because I am. Hello, Scott. No, I'm not actually wearing. I got a different underneath bit. Different. I had a, I think, burgundy top last week. It does look. Yes. Happy Sunday, Arrofingal. Hello, Philip. Hello, everybody. Yes, everybody. The gang's all here. Hey ho, hey hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. I am going to Edinburgh. I have booked my accommodation. It is very expensive, but I've got to pay it by this week, so I'm going to have to get my act together and make a show that isn't completely going to blow, and that's a difficult thing to do, because I've got to write it too, and I really am not very good at that. Yay, Edinburgh! Yay, Edinburgh! I'm going to say in Edinburgh instead of outside Edinburgh. So I don't have to walk 5 hours or take a big bus and wait an hour, and then I just have to walk 20 minutes and then I'm right to my venue this time. Ha 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 ha. If I get, but don't know whether that's going to work. Breakfast is included. Ha ha. But it's very expensive, more than I've ever paid before. But I'm going to have to get my act together. That was a dramatic chord, wasn't it? Yay! Ooh, I'm not sure that's the chord that I wanted to do, but it is that one. Well, I've lots of things. I stayed on somebody's couch one year, and I stayed on floors, and I stayed mostly. Not hotels. 1 year I stayed in a hotel. 1 year for half of it, and then I stayed. It's a student accommodation. It's a special deal for artists. Not all the years. Usually there's like somebody gets their act together way before me and books a whole flat, and then I book a room in their flat. But this year you can do that, but I'm like, well, if I'm going to have to do it, I could fit in with somebody else's plans, but it's just a room in student accommodation, so that's it. But it's somewhere that I haven't stayed before, but I have friends that have stayed there, and I think the breakfast included is a bonus, because although it's probably quite bready, if there's anything that I can wrap up and take with me for the rest of the day, because I don't think there's a proper kitchen. I think there might be a kettle and a microwave. So I'm going to have to work my way out. I have stayed in like self-catering places. I've stayed in hostels a couple of times. In Leith and also on Cowgate. But that one closed. It was all mouldy. It's quite difficult if you're like sleeping in a place that's got like 14 other people sleeping in there. Difficult, and you have to hide your stuff under your bedclothes or pay for a locker. But I usually just hid it under my bedclothes. So I've stayed in lots of different places, but some of them have been nearer than others. Really, like the first year I went up there, I slept on a seat for the first couple of days because the person that was running the show I was in had rented a flat. And she had the bed, and the other 3 of us that were in the show were sat in seats, and we had to pay quite a lot. And I came back for a couple of days, and when I came back to London. When I came back to Edinburgh, I was like, I'm gonna book an actual student accommodation place, which was way out in I think Fountainbridge. Way over where I think Sean Connery was born, even further than that, so maybe Stockbridge. Anyway, way out, and you had to walk at night, and I struggled to find it, and then I ran back, and I was so exhausted, and then the person that was running the show was like, we're going to change the show, and instead of doing the sketch show that we planned, that we'd written, and that we rehearsed for years, they decided that we were instead going to do an improv show. And I wasn't that happy about that, and I was exhausted. And so the next day, she came up to me and says, you're not really happy doing this show, so I don't want you to do the show anymore. So I was there for another week, staying well outside of Edinburgh. Well, it was in Edinburgh. It was not in the centre. It was a long walk. And it rained that year so much. I got trench foot because I didn't realise it was quite cold and wet in Edinburgh. And it was a very rainy year that year. And I had sandals instead of... I brought sandals. And so walking back at night, getting soggy feet, I actually got trench foot. So, hey... obviously, I can't say that I'm the same as the World War One soldiers because they went through an awful lot. But I can empathise with that aspect at least. That my feet were not great. So that's how salubrious, how lovely, how what too much information. But it was, yeah. So and also, I had actually bitched about the person whose show it was because I was so disgruntled that we were getting charged £100 a night to sit on a seat, to sleep on a seat. And she'd also decided to rent out the cupboard to some people that weren't even in our show. So there were people, like, living in the cupboard. Like, she sublet the flat, really. And I'd said something about how terrible it was, and her mother, who was also staying there in the same bed, but not on the seat, her mother was staying there, heard me talking about this because I didn't realise that she was behind me. So obviously the person whose show that I was in wasn't happy about that, the fact that I bitched about her. Not even behind, well, in front of her mother, rather. I think her mother said something like, oh yes, she can be like that sometimes. So her mother I think her mother was also bitching about her. So she encouraged it. It's not my fault. Anyway, so the fact I was not happy because I was so exhausted and I travelled all day, and to be told that we're not doing the show that we were doing, and I'd also bitched about her, and to be sacked from the show, the very show that I was doing. So that's, you can still see the video because that's the year that I met Anna Black, who had in the first couple of days seen some of my videos because I'd only just started making videos, and we collaborated a little bit there. So I had a nice time. I had a good time because we were just wandering around Edinburgh filming stuff and having a laugh. It was much better, really. I was interviewing people. It was quite a good Edinburgh, really. I met loads of people and I had a much nicer time not doing a show, to be honest. So that's why I am doing a show this year. But I'm also going to interview people and do the uploading with which I've done for the last few years. So I'm going to interview people. And I had done it online, but last year I started, it was a lot easier because the internet connection was ropey as ever. It was a lot easier to pre-film it in interesting Edinburgh locations. So I think I'm going to do that again this year and then upload that. So if anybody is doing a show in Edinburgh and they want to be interviewed and we can meet up in a park or a garden or a very quiet room, a pub or something that's quiet in the early part of the day, then that'll be good. I think I interviewed somebody in the Globe before anybody was really there because it's quite, a lot of the pubs are quite quiet early on. So yeah, that was fun, and that's what I will probably do this year. And I've got my show, which is spoken word, stroke theatre, stroke comedy, stroke other things. It's Bilge's Theatre. It's probably on the website already. I've gone all out this year. Oh, will you be in Hickory? Yes. B&Bs. I have not stayed in a B&B, but effectively where I am staying this year is a B&B in that it does a bed and I'm going to get breakfast. Breakfast included. There's a lot of things up. There's good deals for people that are registered. So I think you can get around it. But I am registered this year, which I haven't been since the last time I think I registered was 2015. So that's a long time because it's like quite expensive. But I'm gonna schmooze and not booze, not schmooze and booze. Some years it's like, oh, cocktails at a subsidised artist price. But I haven't really, like the first few years, I went out of my way to go to all the artist pubs, artist hubs and bars and make myself a schmooze with people. And I met Barry Cryer and Les Dennis blanked me because he didn't know who I was, so it's fair enough really. But it's like, out of all the people at the table, he acknowledged everybody except me, it felt like a sting. But obviously he's like, don't know who that person is. Barry Cryer was nice to me, and Ronnie Golden, who he was doing a show with that year. schmoozed, and I made sure that I was in all of the members' bars, and made sure that I was, I had like, because I had started a company called Funny Peculiar, which I was like, because I left work only about 2 weeks before my journalism job, and I was gonna be everything. I was gonna do comedy nights, and it was gonna be amazing, and it was all everything. So I had an artist, I had an industry pass, so I could get into all these bars and stuff. So, but it's like, what's the point anymore? It's just like, oh, last few years I haven't even tried. Or the first few years I'd be like, go do. I would like a pass. Thank you for my pass. La 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 la. Give me my pass. I'm supposed to be here, but I still had the sort of sheen of being, because when you're a journalist, you're like, everywhere is my place, and you go in and you're like, I am here. I belong. And I still had that for the first few years. But then the more it's gone on, the more I'm like jaded, and I can't be bothered anymore. Because although you're in there and you see all the famous people and whatever, and all the industry people, you're like, I see them, but I am not them. I am not them. I'm not of them. I am of them, but they're special and I'm not. So let's just accept that. It's like I can go, oh, look at this. I can pretend that I am like, whoa, well, I'm here, so I must be special too. But you're not. I'm definitely not, and I can accept that now. I'm not hot. I am just me. And that's fine. Well, yes, but I don't think of myself as special, and that's what makes me so extra special. Yeah. So it's like I've got a hardcore audience. Like, people come to see my shows. Like, there's a great organisation that's sort of just outside, sort of Fife-based, I think they are, called The Right Stuff, with a W, The Right Stuff. And they always come to see me, especially the one guy that does a lot of the organisation and poetry nights and stuff. They always come to see me, and he's brought people to see me, and really is a great fan and writes lovely things about me. So that's good. I have a core audience, and I know a lot of people in Edinburgh now, so that's good. There's a lot of, so I feel that, like, when you add it all up, I've spent more than a year in Edinburgh, but it's over the course of what will be now 20 times. I haven't been every year, but it'll be 20 fringes worth of years. And there's a few years that I haven't gone up. And there's a few years I only went up a little while. The first time, I was only up there 2 weeks, really. I was up there for a couple of days, and I came back, and I came back up again. Second year, I was doing somebody else's show. I was there the first week, and then I went back home, and I couldn't stand it, so I came back up again, and then I ended up hosting somebody's show because they couldn't make it. So I just fell into performing, really. I didn't have a booked show. I had a booked show for the first week. It was a show where I was hosting with Aaron Rice. That's who it was, and it was called TBA, which was a mistake. Because and I thought that he arranged to have us go in the book, but it just said TBA and didn't really say anything else, so nobody knew what the show was. It was really, a lot of other. It was us hosting and doing a bit, and then we had guests. So it was like a spot show. It was like lots of people came and did things. So I only did that for a week, but our poster was just TBA. So somebody took over that spot and then used our poster for the rest of the time because it was so generic and it didn't say our names. It didn't say anything. It's like, why have we paid to go in the book and come up here when nobody knows who we are? TBA. It was Aaron Rice and me. Aaron Rice worked for the BBC. We both did Comedy Soup videos. If you can remember Comedy Soup back in the day, that was exciting. But then Comedy Soup went away, the way that everything goes. And then 2008, I won a BBC thing. So I felt like I was part of the BBC. Comedy Soup. And 2008, I won upstage with other people from YouTube. We were, and it was all, everything was going fine, and so I was sort of up in the air going, trajectory. The trajectory was good. It was going really well until about 2013, when I made the mistake of doing a show with somebody that hated me, and the whole thing disintegrated by the end, and the show was got 2 1-star reviews, even though I thought it was a decent show in that it was like historical figures doing stand-up, and we had guests, and I did historical figures, and the co-host did a historical figure and berated everybody, and I was doing a lot of damage control because I had a lot of people saying to me, I don't like the fact that I've been berated on stage and it feels personal. And so I was like, don't worry about it. It's not personal. Don't worry about it. And it was like, he was berating the guests, and he was berating the audience. And he found out that I was trying to do damage control. I was like, don't worry about it. That's just that's not a problem. But he hated me. He hated the characters I was doing. Everything went wrong. By the end of it, he was just horrible to me, and everything went, and he thought that I was bitching about him behind his back, which I wasn't. I was just trying to explain that it's fine, it's just the persona, don't worry about it, but misunderstood it, and then for many years afterwards went out of their way to tarnish and destroy my reputation and tell everybody that I was a terrible person. So that sort of put a bit of a damper on it, and I don't want to blame any one person, but it just knocked my confidence, and then that trajectory sort of stopped. But then 2015 I did a solo show. No, 2012 I did a solo show. 2013, well, it didn't do well, the solo show, but I enjoyed it. 2013, and the audience enjoyed it too. Critics came, hated it. 2013, disaster. 2014 didn't go up because there was a bit of a kerfuffle with the venue, and there was some block booking, and I spent the whole time trying to make sure that other people had venues, because it all went wrong, and it wasn't anybody's fault really. It was some people's fault, but it wasn't our fault, but we got all the brunt of it. And so I did Camden Fringe that year. Then 2015 I did the Welsh show, which did well, but it was sold out every night because there was only at most you could probably fit 20 people in. Realistically, it was a 7-seater venue, but and I was here, and the audience was there, and if 7 people were there, it felt very full. So technically 20. So it was sold out every night because it wasn't really hard to sell it out, because people would go, that looks good, the flyers look good, come to see it. Nobody else can get in. The nosebleed was terrible. It was basically it was a shoe cupboard. I think every year until then it had actually been the closet. It was where people had kept their coats, but it was a venue that year. And then I don't think I came up the next year. Then I came up with somebody else's show on a whim the year after. Like, they couldn't come because they'd broken their legs. So I was like, I'll cover for you. So I came up right at the end of the Fringe. 2018, did I come up? I don't know. 2019 was good, but I only came up for a week. So I haven't really got back into the flow. A couple of years since the incidents of 2020, that got cancelled. So a couple of years since then, I've been back up, but it's not really gelled. So this year, I've got this show that's not comedy, because the first year when we did the sketch show, I was convinced we were going to win the comedy awards, and somebody said you're not going to win the comedy awards, and I'm like, why not? And it's like, because it was a terrible show which got cancelled very quickly, so that probably wasn't ever going to get the comedy. Now this year, because I'm not in the comedy section, I'm not eligible for the comedy awards, and so then the pressure is off, even though I have gone, I'm actually probably registered. If it was comedy, then I would be eligible, but because I'm not comedy, I don't have. Also, that person that was critical of my first solo show will not come because they're a comedy reviewer, and I don't have to worry about that. So ha ha ha. So it's like how to sabotage yourself and also feel better about yourself, because it's taking the pressure off. Isn't it? So that was fun, wasn't it? So yeah, this year is going to be fun. A friend of mine, Elise Waits, who was in Mrs. Dale's Diary on the radio in the 1950s and 60s. She said it's my year. I'm like, Thank you, but I think I've got no expectations this year. That's good name dropping, isn't it? You're like, what are you talking about? What Mrs. Dale's Diary? She was in Mrs. Dale's Diary with Jessie Matthews, and then when Jessie Matthews left, she was still in it. They got rid of the lead character, but kept the daughter. So obviously she's that was a long time ago. She's still with us, and she's a great person, and wished me the best, and it's all going to be great. But to be honest, I'm not expecting it, so I'm not expecting anything amazing from it. Maybe it'll be like the next what's that thing with Phoebe Waller-Cates, but BT what for Phoebe Waller. So what's her name? Yeah, that person. Was it Fleabag? Yeah, it's going to be the next Fleabag, or the next Baby Reindeer. Except it's not, because it's not in the comedy section, and they were, I think. Haha. So yes, and also, it's just not really got any theme or structure or written or anything now. So it won't be that, because I haven't written it yet. But maybe it will be. It'll be amazing. I'll win awards and everything, but not the comedy award, because it's not. Although it probably will be comedy, it's not technically comedy. Haha. Got around. It's like hiding from the people that are. And also the person that hates me not the one that chucked me out the show. There's a lot of people that hate me. Actually, one of the rumours was everyone hates me and everyone that I've worked with hates me, and that's not true. There's 3 people that's hate. I've worked with other people that I maintain a good relationship with. So I think, actually now I'm like, have I destroyed every relationship that's in there? Maybe this is why I'm just doing a solo show now. Now, Aaron Rice, for instance, I haven't spoken with him or to him for years, but he's still a Facebook friend, and I don't think he actively hates me. So there you go. One person. Who are you in touch with now? It's like, just everyone that I worked with the magazine likes me, I think. I think they do. I don't know for certain. I've fallen out with everyone. Now, a friend of mine who also is not speaking to me. Now, I'm still Facebook friends with somebody. I think they're still technically. You lose touch with people. But a friend of mine who did a show in Edinburgh the first and the second year. That's where I met him. He did a show called Bridge Burner, Andrew J. Lederer, a show called Bridge Burner, about how he burns all his bridges and just deliberately and just keeps going forward. And it's like, oh no, maybe that's actually me. Anyway, everyone's gone very quiet. Has anybody talked to me? Is it all gone? It's all gone pear-shaped. Meow. Woof. What? What is that? Dogs are willing to go, oh look, everyone's talking. Like, people were talking and I didn't see it because it went off. But thank you very much. Everyone's gone now. I've driven you all away. Talking about Edinburgh and how I'm not going to be very good, but I will stay. And it will be great. And I am in Burrito and Shake again. In the basement of a Tex-Mex restaurant. So you can get a burrito or a taco or even a pizza that gets delivered behind us, right next to the kitchen. But they have to shut the door to the kitchen now because of fire regulations, and also they can't put their electric bike at the top of the stairs because the fire marshal told them not to, and now it's actually got a fire door, so we are very safe because it's in the basement right next to the escape. And I don't know where the escape goes, but you can go out the back now, and then you can go into one of the caves because it's next to the bridge, so it's technically underground, overground, rumbling free, and we are in the basement of a pizza and taco shop, and and it's right on it's on North South Bridge. It's where the South Bridge and the North Bridge meet. Haha, like West Side Story. South Bridge and the Sharks and the Jets. Betty and the Jets. Jets and the yes, just Jets. Anyway, it's good. It's excellent. It's gonna be fabulous, and most of the people who are in the venue are the people who were in my venue last year, so we'll have a lovely time. Alex that does magic, and Ben that does children's poetry, and Mark that does a show about coins, and they're all just after and before me, so ha! It's all gonna be fantastic, and pretty much like I've done last year all over again, except this year more poetry and drama. Comedy drama that I have to write. So maybe I'm obliged to actually do something that is gonna, because I'm in the official guide, that I have to do something that people actually want to see. And yeah, so that'll be good, won't it? Yay! Everything's great. So how has everybody been? That's just me talking about myself for 20 minutes. It's like, shut up. Nobody wants to know. It's like, I don't know, I'm quite excited because it's like, I wasn't going to go this year, and now I am, and it's going to be amazing. And it's right next to a swimming pool, so I can go swimming every day if I want. I've been swimming for years. I got a swimming costume. I bought a swimming costume because I was working at a primary school where I had to take the kids swimming, and I was told that I had to go in the pool with them. And I bought the swimming costume, and they went, nah, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, oh, but I wanted to. I just had to sit on the side and get wet feet and just go, wanted to go swimming. So, oh no, I hope your eye gets better soon. Centrebridge, yeah. Centrebridge is in the middle of North and South Bridge. The bridge is interesting. If you've ever been to Edinburgh, it's the 7 hills, right? You can't tell there's 7 hills because they built bridges all over them. So it's just all flat. It looks like it's flat. The High Street, the Royal Mile is up a hill, but then parallel to that, you're like so you go up a hill and down a hill. So you do know there are hills because the roads up to the main bit are sort of like, so the High Street goes up and then there's roads down and there's built up bits. So you're like there's venues, like you're in a venue and you're at the top, and then there's other venues below you, and you never even know that you're in the same building. Like Banshee Labyrinth, which is down in the Nidri Street, most haunted pub in Edinburgh, which is really great. At the top, behind it, there's like cave tours, like people go around the inner part of the bridge, because the bridges, like people just filled them in. It's like, I forget about that, because they were apparently first of all, when they built them, they were all businesses and shops, and then they realized because it's a bridge, it's very damp, so they just hid them all away. So they're still there, so they've uncovered a few of them. It's probably structurally unsafe now because they've taken all the stuff that was keeping it. Anyway, it's like, I'm at the top of the bridge. There's more stories above us. I'm underneath, I'm in the basement, so I'm sort of technically on the side of a bridge, not under the bridge, not over the bridge, by the side of the bridge, not over, not look in my eyes, not my eyes. Anyway, it's yeah, but it's on the side of the bridge, on the one side. So it's all fun, yes. Watching TV. Oh, right then, you do that. You do that, folks, you know. Multi-purpose, multitasking, that's what we do. It's all good, isn't it? I was just talking about underground. I'm underground, and I just realised that I've got Wombles in the room with me. Wombles! Uncle Bulgaria. Did you see my video with the Wombles? I don't know whether I posted it here, actually. Wombles. So my mum, the boxes, apparently they're always like this because my mum got them from a community centre and they were selling them off. So the boxes are supposed to be like that. Woo! Multi-purse, yeah. Multi-purse, multi-screen, multi-Bulgaria. Oh, Uncle Bulgaria. He can remember the days when he wasn't behind the time. With his map of the world, pick up the litter and make it into something new is what we do. Anyway, that was a fun series, wasn't it? Wombly Womble. Talking of things, right? I don't know whether you saw the video I posted today, because I've been looking for family photos, and this is some I can't find, but I found this. I thought was long destroyed, and you can see that It's just like, my Auntie Wendy made this, and it's you can see there's like a, I think there was a hook there, and it was on my grandmother's wall or behind a door or something, and it was horribly terrible. There was the back, she had a 3-bedroom house, council house, and one of the rooms always smelled sort of damp and musty and hadn't been used for years, because obviously my father and my auntie had left home, so it was like we'd stay there if we stayed with my gran. And it's so dark. It was so dark. It's a little pokey room, and it's damp, and it just, that mattress smelled like mushrooms or something. And then this was on the wall, so it was like a horrible, scary cave with this terrifying monster thing on the wall. And my auntie came back from France one year and said, "Do you want that? You can have that." And I was like, "I don't want that." She's like, and everyone's like, "You're so ungrateful." I was like, please don't make me bring this home. Please, what is it? No. I mean, it's very well made. I'm looking at it going, well, that's quite good, isn't it? But it's still absolutely terrifying. It's like, what even is it? It's got no arms. It's just a thing. Terrifying thing, and the hook's fallen off now. There's still a thing to hang it on the wall, so I can hang it on the wall and just be terrified now. It's just like, whoa. Anyway, so that's great. I found so many things when I don't know whether any of them are here. Just loads of pictures and documents and stuff that I had seen for years, and it's just like, oh, I didn't know I had that. Wow. I didn't know that was there, but I did eventually, like after like 2 days of looking, found the picture that my mum was looking for that was upstairs in the attic, and it had fallen down behind something. And I had stopped looking by then. I was just like, oh, I'll just move this box. Oh, look, there it is. I didn't even know what I was looking for really. I was like, that looks like what she described. She said that it was her grandparents and some relatives. And it was like, some of them were sat down and some of them weren't sat down. It's like, I don't know, is this it? Yes, it is. It's like, but there's other pictures that I can't find. There was like a picture of my gran that I actually had. It was like there was like a blotch on her eye, so I had to like touch it up. And now I'm thinking of it, maybe we never physically had those pictures. I'm thinking possibly I'd just seen a scan of them, or that somebody had sent them by email. Maybe the reason that I couldn't find those pictures, and I saw my grandfather when I knew him. Obviously, he was an old man, and he was little bald, grey-haired, bald on the top, grey-haired, and just like, and then he had a stroke. So I didn't really know him very long. And I didn't know my other grandfather at all, because he died the week after I was born. So, but I'd never seen a picture of him young, and he had masses of curly hair, and apparently he was like blonde. I didn't think anybody in my family was blonde. He had like fair hair. Who'd have known it? It's like everyone else, like my dad's got dark hair, my gran had black hair. She was very, very, she used to, even when it went grey, she'd be like, no, look, I've still got black hair. And she'd go, look, it's still there. It's like my Uncle Arthur, like, he didn't go grey until way past his 70s or 80s. Like, my dad's still got sort of mostly dark hair, what's left of it. But he didn't start to go bald until he was past 60. Whereas my brother started to go bald when he was in his 20s, unfortunately. But I'd say, anyway, beside the point, I saw a picture of my grandfather looking very svelte and young with curly hair, and my grandmother looking young. And it was like, what a brilliant picture. And I was looking for that, half looking for that, when I was looking for this picture of these random relatives that my mum wanted. And apparently the relative she was trying to look for wasn't even in the picture, it turned out, when we found it. But it was the right picture. But maybe we never had these pictures I was looking for, and I was on a completely wild goose chase for these pictures. But I had seen them some point. It's like, the fact that I couldn't find them makes me think that they probably aren't physically here. Because when my grandmother died, my auntie, who gave me this, had actually said to my dad, do you want anything in this house? And we kept the piano, which later got sold for 50 quid, unfortunately, because I wanted to learn it, but whatever. It was a big piano, so it took up too much room and it needed tuning. Anyway, she took everything back to France because my dad couldn't deal with it and he didn't want to deal with it. So everything that was in that house, including all the photos, is probably in France, which is probably why that would have been more useful than this interesting thing, which is horrific. No, it's lovely. What a lovely gift to give to a little child that's terrified of it and insists that they don't want it because it's haunted. And now now I found it again. What am I supposed to do with this? That I know it's here. Even if I put it in a box, I know where it is now. There's no hiding from this. It'll haunt me in my dreams. It's like, oh, what is it? What's it got a little hat on? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Is it like Aladdin or something? Or the evil uncle that Aladdin had that made him go into the cave, and that's like, don't come out until you've got the treasure. Maybe that's who it is. I don't know. I'm assuming something like that. Sinbad. Maybe it's Sinbad. It could be Sinbad. Don't know what it is, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's been great. It's still March. It's March next year. I think I'm going to go to Cardiff the day after that. That would be fun. Cardiff would be fun. Maybe I'll film some more stuff. Shall I stay in that place that was in the Christmas special again? The Sandringham. I can see whether there'll be a door to another time in the corner of the hotel. Because it was quite cheap. It was like 30 quid. I can just about manage that, even though I've spent most of my money on Edinburgh. What are you going to do? Yeah, I probably won't see that money again, because last year I could have, because you're supposed to be, hey, give me money in my bucket, or here's a scanning code. I said it, so I'm like, there was no internet down there, so it's like, whatever. So the chances of making it back on box office, like technically, box office, but my box office is like, So yeah, that would be fun. It's like, good money after bad. It's like, why are you even going up there? It's like, because I used to think that it was going to help my career and I'll be on television soon and so famous and everyone will love me, and that never happened. And I'm not really surprised. But that's fine. It's all good. You just have to carry on doing things. I mean, somebody said, I saw a video today where somebody said there's a pottery class that half of the class was told they have to make a perfect pot. That's all they have to do. One perfect pot by the end of the semester. And the other group was told, just make as many pots as you like. And all the best pots came from the people that made as many pots as they liked. They didn't care whether they were good or not, but eventually they got really good at making pots, and it was the much better pot than the people that were trying to make the good pot. They're trying to make the perfect pot. And I've never tried to make the perfect pot. I just sort of potter about making random pots and hoping for the best, and who even knows whether maybe one day one of them will be all right. It might be the best. I mean, this is what you do with everything. It's like you have to take 100 photos to get a good photo. You have to write thousands of poems to get one good poem. You have to do lots of things in order to get the one good thing. Except some people stumble on the one good thing straight away. The thing is, with those people, they usually haven't got much else in them. They've made this one good thing, and then they've got to live up to that one good thing for the rest of their life. Now, I don't have that problem because I've never had the one good thing, and I haven't got that much rest of the life to whatever. It's like, if you get old, you don't have to get old. Not what you're talking about. Yeah, so I've lived the life, I've had the journey, and the journey is just meandering all over the place. And I don't care anymore because it's all good. Just realize that you're not as good as you thought you were and do it anyway. That's another thing. Somebody else had a video about how J-Lo's not very good, but the thing is, J-Lo is succeeding by just doing it anyway. Everyone's like, ha ha, you're terrible. And she goes, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. Here. I'm not Mariah Carey, but I can. And they go, wow, that's terrible, JLo. And she goes, ha! Who's got the rocks? Don't be jealous of the rocks that I've got. I've got loads of rocks. I do a rock of the day, a rock of the week every week. So I've got as many rocks as JLo and just as much talent. I think JLo's underrated, but as a singer, maybe not so much. Anyway, but she's still doing it. She's still really successful. Look at the people. Look at the absolute numbskulls that are doing it. Like, of all the things, Elon Musk, absolutely no blimmin' talent, just a load of, not money, I don't think he's really actually got any, absolutely no talent, probably not really any real money, and yet he's taken over the world. Now, there's a lot to not like about that guy, but he's out there with absolutely no self-knowledge of how utterly terrible he is, and yet he carries on. Is that admirable? I don't think it is, really, but yet he persists, but yet he exists, but yet we have to bear it. I think less of that sort of thing, but if it's admirable, the fact that he's got away with absolutely no talent at all and convinced the world he's a super mega genius that deserves any sort of respect, even the fact that anyone's got even the merest iota of respect for that person proves that nothing makes any sense. Nothing makes any sense. So yes, his talent is going, ha ha ha. It's mine now, stamp it. It's the same talent as the President of the United States. Stick your name on things even though they're worthless and all shiny. All that glitters is not gold, it's just a pile of old turds. But that's fine. They've done very well out of it, haven't they? Just, who can say? Just bravado and spunk in the American way, because obviously the with Elon in particular, I think there's probably not an awful lot of the British meaning of the word. The British one, I don't think he's got a lot of that, because he's had to eke it out over the course of 20 years and in little test tubes, because there's probably not much to go around. Anyway, let's not talk about that terrible person. Cool sweater it is, isn't it? Cool. It's a hot sweater, actually. It's like, I'm overheating in it, but it is a cool sweater. And it's getting it's still cold, so I'm like, I'm choking on my own sweater. Anyway, it's all good. Everything's good. Anyway, this is what we will live for. We will live the dream. We will do the thing, even though we know in a heart of hearts. I mean, I think they're convinced. Some of these people are convinced that they actually are talented and wonderful and worth it. But the rest of us just have to pretend, I think. Just have to pretend that we're worth it, and the Dunning-Kruger, the Freddy Krueger effect. Yeah, the Freddy Krueger. Yeah, we come into people's dreams, and I haven't actually seen Nightmare on Elm Street. I assume that he's a stripy man. He goes, ha ha! Hey kids, do you like my knife hands? Is that Edward Scissorhands? Hey, I'm Edward Scissorhands. Who Johnny Depp was in one of them, isn't he? Hey, that's another guy that's just like gone quite a long way on just what was once a pretty face. It was like, hey, I look nice. And that's the end of that. 20, 30 years later, it's like you don't anymore, but you can remember them when he did. You remember that pretty face, and he's lived on that for years, and pretending to be drunk for a little bit in the early 2000s. When he actually probably was. That was probably not even acting. Anyway, what am I wearing on my hand? It was what I had my hair up. It's a scrunchie made of actual purest silk. Not vegan, obviously, because it's made of the bits. You can't actually make caterpillar. You can make silk by not killing the caterpillars, apparently. But people don't. They just boil them alive, which is grim. Anyway, I'm going to pretend it's ethically sourced and that they've gently cut the caterpillars, the butterflies, and the moths. They're moths, aren't they? Gently cut them out of their chrysalids, whatever, the silky things. And it's, yeah, that's probably what it is. Good physical skills. Yeah, he was quite good at pretending to be Buster Keaton. Early on, I mean, there's other things about that man that you really don't want to... It's not admirable. He's not an admirable man, really. He's the sort of person you're like, avoid. But I used to be a big fan. But you can go off a person. Anyway, and some of the other man, Spunk, might have created a... Anyway, let's not go there. It's just like going there. It's like surrogate babies. Who knows where they come from or where they go? Well, they grow up and they become people. They were always people. They were always people. They're people now. Whatever. I don't know. Go in that cocoons. Yes, a cocoon, like the film with Wilfred Pickles or whatever it is. Wilfred Brimley was only about 50 when he played a really old man in that. It's like, oh, I think he was like only about 46 or 47. It was like, and he was playing a really old man that was rejuvenated by the aliens. It's like, well, because he wasn't that old. It's what it is. He's about 20 years younger than Johnny Depp is now. Wilfred Brimley. Anyway. Let's get on here then. I think Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy were in that too, weren't they? And some other people. Steve Guttenberg. Don't see much Steve Guttenberg anymore. What's happened to Steve Guttenberg? No, he could have been that. He was like what Tom Hanks turned into. It's like Steve Guttenberg could have been Tom Hanks, but he just didn't have the luck, really. Steve Guttenberg. Anyway, he invented the printing press. Yeah. Anyway, Steve Guttenberg, where is he? Anyway. I will see. Did he go out fighting? I've got a vague... Did I see that right? Did he go out and fight some fires in the LA fires recently? Was that me just imagining things? Anyway, Steve Guttenberg. On that note, I think I will leave you, and we shall see each other again next week. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me, and if you write in the chat, I will see what you said, and I will say it if I saw it, which I might not, because my eyes are not very good. See you in 2 weeks. Oh yes, have a good time. See you in a fortnight. If I see you in a fortnight or next week, whenever it will be, it will be, it will be, it will be. See, I can sing just like J-Lo. It's amazing. Have a lovely time. See you, be well, and woo! Yes, exactly. Gutenberg, firefighter. See you very soon. Bye bye.